Hi there, my name's Darrell, it's great to see you and welcome to Old Man Cycling. Now, based on the success of my last ride where I didn't use the motor assist at all, I'm going to try and do that again on this ride. And really it's only going to be a short ride today because I haven't got a lot of time, but it's in some different areas that you won't have seen before, and it's certainly a place where I've not cycled before as well. Now, between this ride and my last one that I filmed, I've also been out on my normal road bike, which was very successful. Now, I did feel a little bit of burn in my thighs, but I think it's all good for improving my fitness. So let's stop talking and let's get cracking. Now, I'm starting my ride today from a town called Leek, which is in the Staffordshire Moorlands. I'm heading at the moment to a small village called Cheddleton. But very shortly, I'm going to pull off the main road and we're going to be using some smaller back roads that are going to be a little bit more picturesque and, quite frankly, a little bit less busy. Looking at the Strava elevation map of today's ride, there's going to be lots of little climbs like the one I'm on at the moment, but they're going to be fairly short and a fairly little elevation. I think the most elevation change that I'm going to get today is 300 feet. And so they're not going to be particularly long or steep. But early in the ride, a climb like this feels a bit tough because my legs haven't really warmed up very well. I have just given in and put the bike onto level 1 assistance. Because I'm only 2 miles in and my legs haven't fully warmed up. It looks like I'm about coming to the top of this hill, so I'll turn the assistance off shortly. So we're coming down this hill now towards Cheddleton, and we're going to get to Cheddleton station. Now, it's an old station, it's not really on the proper rail network. It's privately owned now and it runs steam trains, and you can just see one coming up here on the left now. Whether they are running today, I'm not sure, but you can basically go on the train down some of the track that's been relaid and restored and have a day out and a meal, and it's really good. And the road that I want to go on is closed. Nice. I'll just show you the station here behind me. It's a really lovely old building. It's the kind of thing that you'd see on a film set or perhaps in Harry Potter. It really feels very period, and in fact they do have some World War I and World War II recreations here where people come dressed in costumes, as well as being able to go on the steam trains for a day out. Now, just climbing up the bank from that station, I did feel quite a twinge in one of my knees, so I'm going to have to monitor that on any future climbs, and if it starts to hurt anymore then I will use the motor. There's no point doing myself any damage just for the sake of trying to ride motorless when the motor is there primarily to help me with my knees in the first place. So it'd be silly not to use it. Now just at the moment I am back under my own power because it's fairly flat at the moment. Now I'm sure everybody has some guilty YouTube viewing pleasures, and now I certainly do. And one of the ones that I'm watching at the moment is a channel called Beard Meets Food. And in those videos, there's a guy from Leeds that travels all over the world doing food challenges. He basically eats an obscene amount of food in a very short amount of time, and I just find it a really entertaining way to spend 10 minutes just watching him doing it. But just by coincidence, one of the videos that I saw him film last night from his back catalogue was filmed at this pub just here on the right, called the Powys Arms in Wetley Rocks. So I just thought I'd mention that because I only saw that video last night. So I'm on another slight climb, and at the moment my knee is fine because I'm sat in the saddle. It's because I tried standing up that it made my knee twinge. So while I can, I'm going to stay sat down and everything should be okay. Now, one of the things I've decided is because I seem to be lacking a bit of energy today, I'm going to use the motor as an extra gear, because I was just coming up a climb and I was in the lowest gear, but I felt like I could do with an even lower gear just to help me. And so at that point I decided there was no point struggling, and I used the motor just to ease me up that hill. And that's how I'm going to play today. The motor's back off again today, so while it's easy going on the flat or even a slight incline like I'm on now that's not challenging, I'm going to leave the motor off. But should I feel I need it, I'll put it on just to get me up the hills, and I think that's a good use of it. I'm about to cycle through the village of Bagnall. Now I'll do a hyperlapse as I go down the hill, but it's quite a steep hill. I know this to my detriment because I managed to write a car off in my early days as I was driving down this bank. So I'll be careful and make sure that I get down safely. Now behind me is a very impressive structure. It's a dam at the end of Stanley Pool. Now Stanley Pool is one of the many reservoirs that serve the canal network in this area. Now it's quite a small reservoir, and it's the first of two reservoirs we're going to visit today on this bike ride. The second reservoir, it's much bigger, and we're going to get there probably in about 20 minutes. So let's go and see that now. So today seems to be touring all the sites where I've been involved in a car accident. Now this one wasn't my fault, but just in front of you can see that there's a quite severe humpback bridge, and when I was a teenager, somebody that I was driving with decided it would be a very good idea to come over this far too fast, and we took off, and as we landed on the other side, she broke the steering column. Now you can see it's quite a severe humpback bridge, and as we crashed down here, that was goodbye steering. And now we've got a descent down into the small village of Rudyard where the reservoir is. Now you might recognise the name Rudyard from a very famous author called Rudyard Kipling, who wrote the Jungle Book. And Rudyard Kipling did actually stay on the side of this reservoir. Now, I'm not sure whether the reservoir was named after Rudyard Kipling or Rudyard Kipling was named after the reservoir, but I'll do a bit of research and I'll put it on the screen. But we're coming down the hill now into the valley where the reservoir is situated, and this is another reservoir that serves the canals in the area. It's a much bigger reservoir and it's quite picturesque. Now that's been a really enjoyable ride, despite it being a lot harder work than normal. I've had to lean on the motor a lot more than I would have wanted to, but let's face it, that's what it's there for. And early in the ride I did have a little bit of a twinge from my knee, and that hasn't bothered me for the rest of the ride. So really, if you've got an e-bike and the motor's there and you do not feel on complete top form, then why not use it? And I certainly have made use of it today. Now it's not quite the end of the ride for me. I've got a couple of miles still to go, but it's down an old disused railway track, so I'm not going to film that because I've done that over the last couple of rides, so you used to see me ride down railway tracks. So I'm going to leave it there for now, but if you have enjoyed this ride, do let me know down below in the comments, or nip over to my Facebook account and leave me a comments there. Now you can do me a really big favour and help the channel to grow by clicking like, subscribe and the bell notifications, because that way you stay up to date with all of my future content and it really helps me out. Watch out for next week's video, that's going to go up on Saturday morning. In the meantime, you can check out this video just up here, but all that's left now is to say it's been great to OMC you, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. First couple of miles, it's so hard to talk, so out of breath. I'm about to cycle through the valley. Now Stanley Pool is one of the many dams, oh pish,